Hello and welcome to my channel, Redeeming Thunder. My name is Erica, and I'm here to give you a difficult word, okay? A difficult, serious word. And it has a lot to do with obedience and grace and also faith in regard to the Ordained Spouse series. This is chapter 17, part 2. And this word, I'm going to be giving you comments that an angel has downloaded to me, and this occurs when I'm in suddenly put into sleep. I'll be studying, researching, totally awake, and then suddenly I'll just feel like so sleepy, like I'll just fall asleep within that instant, okay, for 2 seconds. And during that time, something is then whispered in my ear, or I can hear internally within my being and my spirit. And this word was given to me on 4/2/2025. But I have recently received a dream on 5/24/2025 that relates to this word, this subdaze word, okay? So this is in regards to the original future ordained spouse, and there has been a change due to them not accepting the call of their life, of their destiny, which is partially with you and partially the ministry and the destiny that Yahuwah has for them, okay? You will understand once you hear the dream that I had. But Yahuwah himself has told me, for the Ordained Spouse series, those that do not want to obey him, there are some repercussions, okay? This is not just being in love and falling in love with your future ordained spouse, the one that he has chosen for you. This has a lot to do with his ministry, okay, and the calling that you guys have together. There's something that you guys do together. So please listen on, because there's quite a bit of information here, and there is a new chapter. I felt it physically felt a change in my body. So the first thing in the subdaze, the angel states, I don't think you should go outside. At least it's not that slippery. So instantly, it had caused me to reflect on a dream I had regarding a slippery slope. And in that dream, I had entered a store, and I was looking for a certain type of pie, a berry pie, and I wanted to check on a bucket. I wanted to check on a duckling that I left out in a pond with some lily pads, and so I wanted to go to the garden center. And when I went there, there was an individual, and I asked him, can I check on it? And or can you check to see if there is a little duckling out there? And he went out to check, and then he said, I don't see a duckling there. There's no pond there. There's just this bucket and a little bit of moss, and the rest of it was murky water within the bucket. I'm like, are you serious? I put this out here with someone. I had put it in a really nice environment, and I had set it up there. I need to go check myself. He's like, I don't think you should go out there. It's very slippery. That's what he said. Be careful. And I'm thinking, how is it slippery? Outside there's nothing. The weather is fine. But when I went out the garden the doors of the garden center that were like automatic, doors. It was a different weather. Okay, it was snowy and icy out there, and there was a few steps. Not steps. There was just an area, a flat area, and to the right and to the left there was like a piles and piles of snow. Okay, that had iced over, and just a few feet forward in front of me there was a slippery slope. Okay, and went all the way down, and then I think there was this lake down there, and it looked kind of really slippery. Okay, I didn't step on it. I went to the side, and then again I did notice that there wasn't any duckling there. There wasn't any pond. So then I came back, or somebody called me, and it was the man, the clerk that was working there. Okay, and the dream, he looked like Bodhi from Fire Country, and he's like, here, grab my hand, and he had one foot on the slippery slope. He had these mountain boots that had spikes on them. Suddenly I looked down, and I also have those same boots. So I was just crunching through the snow to the side, and was a bit timid to grab his hand, but then I thought, yeah, I know him. He's a firefighter from the show, right? He rescues people. So I was like, I could trust him, because so then I grabbed his hand, and he pulled me right up first, and then he went up that one or two steps from the slippery slope. Anyway, we went back inside, and that was that part of the dream that I had. And this dream I had last year. Now, when he stated, I don't think you should go outside, at least it's not that slippery, I knew he was talking about the slippery slope. Okay? And later on, you will understand how is this part of the Ordained Spouse series. So, suddenly, on a different day, I felt dizzy. Okay? And while I was laying down, I felt very dizzy. I didn't do anything to make myself feel dizzy. I just felt like the entire room was spinning. And then so it felt like my body was spinning one way, but it felt like the room was spinning a different way. So it felt like universally dizzy. And there was like a dimensional voice coming through. Like it sounded like it was from very far away, but it was coming through in an echo. And I was falling asleep as that was all occurring. Okay, so I knew in that moment something else is being downloaded, and it says, I weigh your heart. In the subdaze, I heard, I weigh your heart, over and over again. I weigh your heart. I weigh your heart. I weigh your heart. I weigh your heart. Kind of like that in a soft voice, but over and over. So I wanted to share a bit on what's going on about that phrase. It speaks about righteousness and justice. The phrase to do what is right and just, to do righteousness and justice, emphasizes the importance of living a life that is morally upright and fair, both in our dealings with others and in our relationship with Yahuwah, the Most High, creator of the universe. Okay, now, that's what he means by weighing your heart. So this is the message he wanted me to share. Again, the dizziness, the echo, and dimensions of time, I hear something else in the subdaze, and it says, open your heart. Open your heart. Open your heart. Okay? So when I research the phrase, literally open your heart, it means to become more vulnerable, honest, compassionate, by revealing your thoughts and feelings, and to allow yourself to be open to love and understanding. So vulnerability and honesty, opening your heart, involves being willing to share your true self, including your vulnerabilities. Compassion and empathy. It also means cultivating compassion and empathy for others, for yourself, recognizing that everyone has their own struggles and experiences. Acceptance and love. Opening your heart allows you to accept and love yourself and others, even when it's difficult. Emotional expression. It's about allowing yourself to express your emotions openly and honestly without fear of judgment or rejection. Trust and connection. An open heart fosters trust and deeper connection with others as you are able to be authentic and vulnerable. Spiritual growth. Opening your heart can also refer to a spiritual practice of cultivating inner peace and connecting with something larger than oneself, obviously with Yahuwah, okay, the Most High, the creator of the universe. Now, these are all these attributes that are needed when you're entering that union. You need to not be your old self, or if you were with someone that did not allow it to be freely acceptable for you to be vulnerable and share your feelings, going into the ordained spouse relationship, it's not going to be the same. Okay, they are all in. They will want to know your vulnerabilities. They're willing, they are compassionate. They have the heart of Yahuwah, so they want to grow with you. Okay, so he wants to just have you already have that open mind about having an open heart, and that he weighs your heart. He's looking for righteousness and for you to be living a morally correct, upright path. Okay, so then I heard in the subdaze, see, I see. And when he says that, usually he means I perceive or I notice. So you perceive something in your spirit. You internally know an instinct. It's a gut feeling. Okay, when you're trying to figure out how does Yahuwah speak to me, these are sort of the ways that he does. He gives you a feeling internally where you already know what to do without even, let's say, talking about it out loud. Okay, now he will see also is he'll probably want you to physically notice something on this earth. Okay, it refers to understanding, to I get it, I follow, and that makes sense. Okay, so what's going on is when you are running into your future ordained spouse, okay, when that occurs, and this is going to be the actual, because there was a redo. If you watch the other videos before this, you will understand that there had been a redo. And not because there was anything wrong with you. It was because the first option, Yahuwah has options for you. The first option was not going to take the call, not because there's anything wrong with you. It's because they weren't going to be brave enough to take the call. Okay? They were not going to take the call because they were too scared to do it. So they were not going to follow through with the will of the Father because they're too timid. They're worried that you're not going to love them back. They're a lot at risk, maybe. Maybe the counterfeit is putting a lot of threats, and they're just scared and they're not brave enough to do what they were supposed to do. But it doesn't mean that you're still left with nothing. It means that Yahuwah already had another plan, and he's already was downloading the other plan as of December. So already had all that going on. You just had to live it though. Okay? You just had to live not the reason why is because there's a dimension of time. So nothing that you can do will then convince you're not the chaser. The man is the chaser. Okay? So if you're the man, you need to chase the woman. You need to you need to be the instigator. You need to say it first. Don't wait for her to do it. I know that in this culture, in this day and age, women just go out and just ask guys out and blah, blah, blah. But Yahuwah is old-fashioned and he's doing it his way. And there was a dimension of time. There was a time frame where he had allowed and given that chance to that individual. And maybe you saw some things. You saw some signs. Okay? You lived certain things. But then all of a sudden, you got confused. Because then the next step wasn't taken. That's because Yahuwah already moved on. He moved on from that person. And they missed their chance. I know you guys are thinking, I gotta look perfect. My temperament's gotta be perfect. You know, Yahuwah's not looking for perfect. He's looking for righteousness. Nobody's perfect. You gotta be mature. That's why you've been going through a series of learning how to be a Proverbs 31 wife. Believe me, even myself, I am not perfect. Even though I'm giving these prophetic words, okay? I am not perfect here. Even those going into the promised land, you're still not perfect, even though you made it to the promised land. But you know what's the difference is? You know when to be accountable. And that's called maturity. You know when to apologize. You know when to repent. You know when to get down on your knees and pray and ask for help, because you can't do this by yourself. There's a difference here. Okay? For those that don't make it to the promised land, they don't know how to do that. They're not there yet. Still want to hold a grudge. Those that didn't make it to the promised land yet, or not going to, they can't pray for their enemies. They don't know how, or they don't want to. Okay? It's very difficult to pray for someone that's constantly attacking you and rejecting and throwing witchcraft. Can you pray for the witch? That's where it takes to be a king, to be a queen. Okay? So that was a side note. But on 4/7/2025, I heard zooms, like a car, a very, I didn't see the type of car it was. I don't know if it was a Corvette. I have no idea. Okay. But it was a car that was zooming really fast down the street. And it didn't occur down the street in real life. It occurred in the spirit. I heard it. There was a moment where my son also heard those zooms. Okay, just confirming with me during this time frame that I heard it, and there was no other person heard it during that time but himself. So, but it's so loud and significant that one says it out loud when they hear it, when that occurred. Okay, and during that time when I heard those zoom, 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 right, I felt dizzy again, like going into a different dimension of time, like if we're moving forward into a different dimension of time. So I also heard now this next segment has to do with the one that did not take the call. Okay? And Yahuwah himself has shared to me that those who he considers Esther's, those who he considers Ruth's in this hour, who are supposed to be with another in the coming future. He needs radical obedience, radical faith, okay? And he needs you to take this seriously and all in. And actually go forward and obey him. He has expressed in different words that it could be of plagues if one doesn't obey. Be serious, because he needs you guys together. You guys do something together that you may not be aware of right now, but your offspring, your relationship together is going to bring him glory, okay? And it's going to ignite faith in others, because it's going to be so beautiful. It's going to be so lovey-dovey. It's going to be so amazing that's going to flood over them. Okay? And it's going to save people for his kingdom, just you two being together. That's how amazing it's going to be. You just got to trust him. So anyways, this dream that I had, it was on 5/24/2025. Okay, so then this is what happened. I saw this woman and this man sitting together. Okay, and this couple was made known that they were supposed to evolve into a relationship, but that time has been cut. Okay, that option is no more for this individual. Okay, but she is still with this individual as in a friend. Just he's helping her with something. Okay, maybe they're still co-workers, maybe they're still at the treatment center, maybe she still goes to that grocery store. Okay, but nothing came of that relationship further on developing. It just stays as friends. Okay, in that setting, or as professional assistants. And there was other individuals down below. So they were on these bleachers, and she was about to start the session with this individual. And then he said, I need to go back with, he decided to go back with the other woman. Okay, he said something in that nature to her, and she just said, yeah, okay, because she already knows, she's nobody's holding a grudge. Okay, she just knows that he's not brave enough to follow his heart. Okay, you don't have to be evil to somebody, you don't have to curse that person. She just knows that he's felt what he felt, but he's not brave enough to take the plunge and be like all in and say it out loud and pursue. Okay, but she knows it was legit. So she's just like, oh yeah, okay, And then so he says goodbye, and he walks down the bleachers, and she stays sitting there, and she's a little bit sad because she's thinking he's going to go back to somebody that's probably is not like the true love, the one and only, the one that, is really, really going to care for him. So she feels sad for him that he's not going to experience that. She already knows Yahuwah has another plan for her, but she's just sad for him. Okay? But she sees him go down the walkway, and she went through the crowd of people that were also needed his assistance, and he passed them as well. And then he walked back, and he walked back to her and says, actually, I'm no longer going to have this job, so I'm no longer going to be able to assist you in training you, or whatever the case may be that he was helping her with. Okay, he says, I'm going to be getting a different job. And he says, I'm going to be working on a ship. So he left. He went back down the bleachers, and he walked down again. And when he walked down, she saw that he went down a slope. Okay? And there was rough terrain, and there was huge boulders. And he walked down, all the way down the slope. And so she got a little bit worried now, because she thought, that slope has these huge boulders, it looks kind of rocky terrain, like gravel road. She doesn't want him to fall. Okay, so she gets off of her seat because she could see that she can no longer see him going down. So she has to get up and now go closer so she could see. She wanted to make sure that he got down there safely. And when she got closer to she walked down the walkway, she passed a group of people, and as she looked down, okay, and I'm up on this elevated, like higher area to view all of this. That's how I could see in the dream. So she sees that he's all the way down the slope, and he has this giant fish, and he's like a fisherman on a huge ship, and it's like, now she got really worried because she's like, oh my gosh, she's like in this tempest, ocean waves. There could be tempest storms there. It's a hard labor job instead of being what he had before. Okay? So I'm not downgrading on being a fisherman out at sea. Okay? What I'm saying is, I think what Yahu was trying to show here is that he no longer was employed. I don't know what occurred there, but he did not work what he was trained to do. He was now in some other profession where it was harder labor. You had to really work hard for your money. Okay? And suddenly down below, she saw that there were other fishermen there. And then they started shoving him, and then they started to beat him up. So he's down on the ground, all the way down the slope. And she's like, oh my gosh, she's like, stop. And she's yelling, stop. Don't do that. But of course these men they don't stop. So and this man is a strapping man, okay? He is very strong. Very. He's tall and he's very strong. He's muscular. And he's trained in some combat. So for him to get beaten down, it must have been quite tremendous amount of attack. Okay? And then she cares for him as an individual, as a brother in a brotherly, as a brother in Christ. Okay? Kind of like in that type of level. She does not want anything bad to happen to him. Okay? So she sees him in fetal position, laying on the ground. Now he's not moving. Suddenly the scene changes, and he's on a sidewalk laying down near a busy road, and there is like a shopping center, stores around about. Okay, and then he says out loud, but in a quiet voice, I need to get back to her. Still talking about the one that he was supposed to break ties. Okay? He says he can't leave her. So I'm not sure what that entails. But he still feels this loyalty to go back. And he couldn't move much. So then it was also learned that he didn't live far where he was left. So then this woman says, I can carry you. So she literally picked him up. This man is bigger than her, okay? He's taller than her. He's way bigger than her. So it would seem unusual that she's picking him up. But she is. And she's holding him up in her arms, like carrying him, like cradling him. And she's like amazed that she can actually carry this man. Okay? But at the same time, she's just doing it. It's only about a block away where he lives. So there she is, taking step by step. She could feel the weight of it. Like she could feel her legs feel some weight. There is no pain with holding him, though. There is no pain in the arms even holding him. It just feels like each step feels like it's heavier, right? So there she is. She's taking him where he wants to go. Because again, Yahuwah was looking for willing hearts, okay? And anyway, he's needing to go back to where his house is. So there he is. And when they arrive, the counterfeit woman, which is now the one that he's with, was this huge woman who looked very angry. She had on a light pink robe, and she looked like she had some kind of large hair, large poofy hair that flowed down. and she looked very like angry on her face, almost swollen, and she was mad that he wasn't home yet. You know, there was some delay, obviously, because he was super injured. Anyway, the dream ended where I saw the woman holding him in her arms, and he needed to then get there, but the other woman saw that he was being carried. Okay, so this is the thing: you're gonna come across people in your life, and Yahuwah does this on purpose. Okay, whether they treat you good or whether they treat you bad, he does this encounters, or he gives you dreams of certain people, because the whole point of it is so that you can pray for them. Sometimes he even brings these enemies to your life and has them persecute you in order for you to have a moment to pray for them, because he knows that you're favored by him and he will hear your prayers. He's probably not going to hear theirs, but they need a real prayer thrown their way. Many. So he has to have them interact with you so that you could pray for them. Okay? Not pray for them so that they revert back to you and see the real calling. That time has gone and passed. Pray for them for whatever spiritual warfare that they're going through, because that looked like complete devastation and desolation. He lost it all. Okay? It didn't look like things were going great. Okay? So in this, I started reflecting what is this interpretation of this dream, and I started to think there could be a bit of punishment. There could be a bit of judgment occurring to those who do not take, are not willingly. Everything is a choice, okay? Yahuwah's going to present these opportunities to you, but certain people are chosen. Certain people are called. They're like chosen for such a time as this. They're chosen for certain assignments. And one of the assignments is to listen to what Yahuwah summoned you for that calling. Okay? And so he is showing quite a bit of devastation and desolation occurring who do not obey. It's not just, free willy-nilly afterwards. I thought it would be. I thought people just have free will and life goes on nonchalantly. But I guess it is not. And I should have known better, because he did tell me in another realm of word that there will be plagues if the ones that are chosen do not take on the new life that he has. So it makes sense, okay? Now, I know this is difficult to hear, but part of it had a lot to do with he was trying to do things in his own strength, in his own willpower, in his own skills, and Yahuwah gave him. And there's nothing wrong with that, other than when one is manifesting and doing affirmations of their own will power, and then not actually giving glory and honor to the Most High. He will bring them down low, those that think that getting places without the Most High, Adonai, El Shaddai's help. Okay? And I'm telling you this because he's done that to me. When I was learning through a church that you're supposed to manifest and do affirmations to get what you want in life. You know that book, The Secret? Okay, they were teaching that. So for years, I thought you're supposed to say great things, positive affirmations about yourself. You're supposed to manifest, repeat, repetition, like repetitive stating things. and it will occur in your life. Okay? That's what I thought you're supposed to do. And people can do that and forget to also pray and ask if it's the will of the Father. And that's when it becomes self-idol. That's when it becomes a type of witchcraft or so. Okay? When one is trying to get places and do things and accomplish things without honoring the Most High and gathering His blessing for it. There's nothing wrong with stating positive things in your life. There's nothing wrong. But also say, may it be your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Also say, thank you for providing me this opportunity to work at this job. Give the Most High the honor and glory. Don't say, I got here, I got to this position, I got to this with only my own skill set and my degree even, and nobody else contributed. Don't have that mentality where nobody else contributed and assisted you. That's very dangerous. That's when Yahuwah out of nowhere will just swipe it all away. Just, okay? And so I don't want that to occur. And this looks like it occurred because I know this because this individual does do affirmations and manifestations. And they are learning it from a group of people. That this is just normal behavior. Okay? So I just wanted to throw that out there. Now, on 4/7/2025, now Yahuwah is speaking about the ordained spouse, your future ordained spouse. There has been a change, okay? And he is still talking about your future ordained spouse. So here he goes saying, remember when I heard the word, the zooming vehicle? Okay, so now he's touching base on that, and he's saying, he comes, zoom quick. He's going to make a move. So when Yahuwah speaks to me, he just speaks direct. So knowing that this is an ordained spouse series, understand that the way it's written here, it's like, it sounds like he's talking directly to me, but that's how he speaks, okay? He doesn't even tell me when he's about to talk about the past ordained, but he X'd that one out. He just dives into speaking about the new one. You just have to be quick and understand when he's changing subjects or changing person. Okay? So, here we go. He knows what to do next. And he says to tell you that you pressure him to do so. By your lovely laughter, your peaceful demeanor, he's going to create chaos for you to want him, for you to need him. See, what's interesting is with these future ordained relationships, it has nothing to do with being feminist. Okay? It has a lot to do with you being feminine and a lot with the individual being masculine and being all in, ready to take care of his wife. Okay? And be everything that she needs. And apparently, with just that little phrase that he said, I'm getting the idea that this individual likes to feel needed, wants to feel wanted. I know you have maybe experienced relationships in the past, or maybe still, where the man does not want to be needed. He wants you to handle business all on your own. He wants you to maintain the household. He wants you to maintain all of the chores. He wants you to maintain all of the upbringing of the children. If you don't have children yet, he thinks you're going to. He wants you to not need any type of assistance, of any kind of care, of any kind of comfort even. No shoulder to lean on. Just be happy, go lucky at all times. That's the only emotion that you feel. Never even upset. never even sad, never like emotional. He doesn't want to be emotionally available to you because he may see it as wasting precious time or energy. You might have experienced that. You might have experienced where you had to, you wanted to lean on someone of their strength. Let's say you needed to build a piece of furniture. And they're like, don't want you to ask them. They want you to just look at the manual, the instruction manual, and figure out yourself. And you're just like, wait, you're supposed to do this though. You're supposed to want to do this for me and be my strength when I am not. That's not my strength. That you might think that, right? Well, this individual wants to do those things for you. They want to feel needed. It's not going to be any of that drama that you've experienced before. I hope this is really sounding like a different type of relationship, because it truly is going to be. Okay, then he says, okay, so this comment just has me reflect on many of the individuals out there waiting for their future ordained spouse. Could be men, women, okay? You have been broken. Okay? He's going to see that, and then he's going to want to fix every broken piece. And he waits for you. Okay? So then, in this individual, you will be able to express your affections freely without feeling it as one-sided, or with an ulterior motive, and or with like feeling empty, like insecure. You won't feel insecure, okay? Because he's going to need you. He's getting desperate that he can't see you every day, he says. Okay, so he's going to create an opportunity for you to be in his close proximity more often. Yahuwah is going to create scenarios of how that can occur. Okay, when the time comes when you finally are crossing paths. Okay, or if you are already, he's going to start creating open doors so that you guys can spend a bit more time together if you're not. Okay, so it might even be working at the same place, or working near. Or it may be working on the same project. It's not a job, it's something else. It might be same team. It might be, going to the same location. I don't exactly know. Every situation is different, but that's kind of what he's entailing here. Okay, so you are going to have to say that, he said. You have to say something. But guess what? He says something first that initiates a moment to be closer, a moment to purposely be close to each other and learn about each other for a long-term common goal, which is marriage, right? So he is going to say something obvious. If you watch the prior video, he's going to say something obvious, and he's going to be the one to say it first. That's how Yahuwah had planned it. Okay? He doesn't want it to be where the woman says it first. So if you've been used to having to initiate, back up, please. If you're the woman here, back up, please. You don't have to do that this time. Okay? Be patient. And the individual who is going to be your future ordained spouse, who is going to be hinting who it is, he's going to be the one to initiate it. Okay? He wants the man to do the masculine role. And that's fine. Okay, so then he says, he's going to tell you, you are mine, I am yours. I guess that's key right there. There was another dream that I had, and I think it's chapter 3 or so, maybe chapter 4. And that, it could be chapter 7. And that phrase was stated. So if you just be mindful of that. Okay, so then he says, then the mishap happens. I need you to pay attention to this because your mishap is going to take place right in time for your wedding. So the wedding comes swiftly. He's hunting you down as we speak. So he has been looking for you. He said he's hunting. Okay? Men are natural hunters. They are the ones, it becomes natural to them to chase and to pursue. It's unnatural for a woman to do it. Okay? So that's why you're not doing it. He's going to. There are certain steps that Yahuwah will tell you what to do, and that's what you do, so you can assist for him to find you, but not like you're initiating everything. Okay? It's his job. And then, so back here he says, he's hunting you down as we speak. He's hunting. Where are you, my love? He says, my love, I seek to find you. So I guess Yahuwah just plugged in a couple phrases of what he's been saying. Okay? Probably not in that voice. Okay? I have a woman's voice here, but, just think of it that he is in search of you, of your literal location. Not, maybe he's been looking at your social media or something like that, but now he's seen it, or he's soon to see it, okay? In the coming chapters, chapter 22, around there, chapter 19 through 22, he starts to find you through his social media, okay? So you're going to want to watch those. There's very specific details on those. And he is literally looking for you on this earth, okay? In the city. He's trying to find you. Now, he is also getting quite a bit angry of the poor treatment that you've been dealing with. And then he says, he has this velour. He's brave, okay? He's very brave. He's witnessing facts. And he's fearless in this hour. And then he says, now is the time to summon his call. Okay, so then I'm asking him, how do you do that to deliver this to them? Okay, and he starts to bring up this song. So I feel like this is a key in this hour. To sing this particular song in this hour. So the song is, and the angels cry, holy, all creations cry, holy, you are lifted high, holy, holy forever. Okay? That's a song that popped into my mind, like if he gave me this key to deliver for you guys, okay? That praise, okay, is going to ignite something in the heavens. It's going to allow the angels to launch forth and to assist in the matter to help him find you, okay? And then he says, you sing praises to me. I take care of the rest. What a relief, isn't it, that Yahuwah is helping you? And you don't have to do all of it all by yourself. Okay, so relax. Don't stress. Okay, so now he is stating a few more details. He needs you. So the individual, your future day spouse, he actually needs you. Okay? He also needs to feel needed by you. And so he says, when it comes time when you two are interacting together, give him compliments. Okay? And this is what's interesting. It's actually quite romantic. What he states here is what your future ordained spouse is saying to you. Okay? He says, I need you more than air to breathe. I need you. You are. And then Yahuwah chimes in here. And he says, Yahuwah, I say Yahuwah, you know, that is the real name of, the Hebrew name of the Most High, our creator of the universe, okay? So that's why I use his name. I always say Yahuwah from now on. Okay, so he says, you are of his rib. And when his rib is not near, it feels as though he can't breathe well at all. It will only feel mended if you are near. I made it feel that way to ache for you so that he can feel the pressure to state what he needs to say to you. So, I mean, have you ever cracked a rib? Have you ever fractured a rib? I have, and it is quite difficult to breathe, okay? I know that feeling. So others have experienced all other things, you know, other injuries or whatever, and they have experienced it and they know what I'm talking about. So he wanted to give some type of analogy, but he's actually putting forth that actual feeling physically now. Because if he doesn't, when is the future ordained spouse going to be feeling the urgency? Okay, there's a time frame. There's a clock that's ticking. There's a dimension of time that certain things need to occur at a certain time frame. Okay? And he doesn't want anything messed with the timeline or the time frame. So he has to put some type of pressure. So he's literally making it as where you assist him with breathing calmly. Okay? And freely. And you are needed so that he can feel mended together. And he said there's going to be an ache. Okay? So he needs to say to you what he needs to say. It's going to relieve a whole lot of pressure once he says it. So, I felt a bit of that panic and a bit of that like rush of you know, urgency, because I know what that rib fracture feels like. Okay, and it is quite painful. It's really hard to move. Okay, it aches. Some warm heat does make it feel better, but when you're just walking around and you don't got that heat pack, it really hurts. So yes, Yahuwah, it means business here. Okay, so now he says, you will cry because it will be so precious. The favor of Yahuwah is upon you. And he says, I must breathe, he says. He's like, he will think it's a lack of sleep or a lack of food or drink. He will think at first it's just tension. It's just, you know, a hard workout that he got hurt. Maybe he was playing a sport and he, you know, maybe got a little injury. He might think that it's that. He'll just go through all the options and see, no, it is not any of those things. He only feels better once you're near. Okay, then in the subdaze, I'm falling asleep again. I'm typing all this. It's taking hours. I'm be spending time with the Most High, Adonai, and spending time with him, okay, in a secret place. And then suddenly I put in a quick sleep, okay, like 2 seconds, and I hear, I'm going to bring you a body butter. And then he says, so then I ask, oh, you want these individuals to give a gift of some kind of body cream? And he says, yes. It will be manifesting my glory. The kindness exalts me. When you are kind to other people, okay, especially to your future ordained spouse, it brings Yahuwah glory because he sees that the love will be growing. Okay? So then in the subdaze, again, I fall asleep for 2 seconds again, and then he says, Virtue Britannica. So then I literally go on the website, on the internet, and I'm like, type in virtue, and I type in, you know, definition in Britannica. Obviously, Encyclopedia Britannica. He wants me to look up that exact definition within that exact sight. Okay? It's purposeful. He's very detailed. It's so amazing. And then it means morally good behavior or character. The Britannica Dictionary definition of virtue is morally good behavior and character. Okay? I urge you to lead lives of virtue. So then it goes further. What are the 7 virtues? Britannica. Okay? And then each of these can be overcome with the 7 heavenly virtues. The number 1 is humility. Number 2 is charity. Number 3 is chastity. Number 4 is gratitude. Number 5 is temperance. And number 6 is patience. And number 7 is diligence. These are the attributes that Yahuwah wants us to have. Okay, so now digging deeper at what chastity means, because I don't know if many people know what that means. It's quite vast. So I dug a little deeper. Is about being responsible and respectful managing of one's sexuality. It's not just, this is AI overview, okay? It's not just about abstaining from sex, but also about how one thinks, feels, and acts in relation to others in the context of intimacy, and involves self-control, moral purity, and a commitment to living a life of integrity, especially in matters of sexuality. Okay, so now there's some examples. Beyond abstinence, chastity is more than just refraining from sexual activity before marriage or after marriage. For some of you, you've been in a relationship, and in the past words, prophetic words given, he said to abstain from continuously being sexually active at this time if you know that you are supposed to be with another. Okay? In any example, in these circumstances, okay? You're supposed to not be with the one you're with. You're not supposed to be still, involved with them in that type of intimacy level. Why? Because it carries on soul ties. You're not supposed to be having a soul tie with past and who you're supposed to not be with, when you're supposed to try to create a soul tie with the one who Yahuwah has ordained for you. Okay? The other thing is, it brings on other familiar spirits. Okay? Like, it's a spiritual connection in that moment of intimacy, and then it's a spiritual transaction. So if the other person has not been holy, okay, not been purified in consecration, set apart, etc., 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 and then they're also not following the ways of Yahuwah, okay, they don't have a lot of the fruits of the spirit, they don't have, etc. Plus it's also fornication and or other sin. So besides all that, but mainly there's some spirits that come attached to that person who you are sexually intimate with. So when the time comes, you will have that type of intimacy with the one that you're supposed to be with. Okay, so you don't want to keep going through the same cycle of being cleansed, being purified all over again, having all these spirits that were troubling the other individual, and then to come into you, and then you're dealing with depression now. You're dealing with all these other things like addiction or whatever, unnecessary issues, when you were supposed to be trying to be prepared for the one that Yahuwah has for you. It's just almost like backtracking, steps back, rather than steps forward and advancing into your future, into your destiny, right? Because your destiny is connected to this individual. That's what the understanding that I have. All right, so now it also means chastity involves respect for others, so respecting the dignity and boundaries of others, both sexually and emotionally. Living a virtuous life. Chastity is a morally virtue that helps individuals live a life of integrity, self-control, and responsibility in their relationships. Love and responsibility. In the context of marriage, chastity is about giving oneself fully freely and lovingly to one's spouse. It also includes a commitment to fidelity and exclusivity within marriage. Different forms of chastity. There are different forms of chastity, including that of for spouses, widows, and those who choose to remain unmarried. Okay, so then he says in the subdaze, I'm really into salads. And I'm not sure what that entails, other than I think the person that you're going to be with likes to eat healthy. Okay, I'm not sure. I just write down whatever is stated to me. Some of these things I haven't solved yet. Some of these things I take 15 hours to solve. Just this one word. You see what I mean? It all just, if that's what I think though. I think I don't know anything else other than that. Okay. Then next he says in the subdaze, so I'd be studying and all of a sudden he'd be downloading something. Okay. Internally, I could feel it. I hear it within that it wakes me up. That is how startling it is. Or near my ear. I literally hear it and I snap and I wake up. And so I hear, get them miracles. Okay? So this is going to be a miracle connection. Okay? Supernatural connection. Yahuwah is all hands on deck involved in this matter. And then, again, studying, and all of a sudden I fall back to sleep for 2 seconds again. And he says, even up to half of my kingdom. But he says it in a whisper. So he's like, I'll be sleeping for those 2 seconds. And I hear, even up to half of my kingdom. See what I mean? And I'm like, what? Heard something, right? And then, where do you recognize that phrase? The book of Esther, right? Who said that to her? The king, King Xerxes, said that to her. Because she was very timid to say what she needed to say to him. She needed to save the Israelites. She was there, purposely put in that for such a time as this, to deliver help of his assistance to deliver the Israelites. They were in danger, eradication. Okay? So then, he says, even up to half of my kingdom. He says, go ahead and tell me your requests, what you want. And she came in her royal gowns, okay? And she invited him to the banquet. If you remember. If you don't remember, watch the show, watch the video on YouTube. And then he's like, I will honor your request even up to half of my kingdom. That's how much he loved Esther. This person that Yahuwah is giving to you as a gift, and you are his gift. He's going to love you more than he ever loved anybody else in this entire world. Okay? He's not going to understand how this love is coming about other than it's supernatural and it's in his heart and he can't take it out. It's like embedded in there. You are embedded. You are part of his rib. And he's saying that you are equal to him. Okay? And even up to half of his kingdom is how much he trusts you and he desires to provide for you and give just freely. Okay? I hope you enjoyed this and I'll see you on the next video.